milk. What are we doing, man? Oh, that's right. We're talking movies, TV, video games, action figures, and so much more. I'm Jack Walker Pearson. To my left, we got Lawrence St. Victor, aka Black Superman.
All day.
Below him, in the bottom corner, we got Christopher St. Victor. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, they are related.
He's the Black Bruce Wayne.
That's it.
And below me, Richard Wilson, the critical one.
Give it to him.
Now, later in the show, we're going to be talking Netflix's new live-action series, One Piece. But before we get
Not
all
two,
to that,
but one.
One Piece. Before we get all of that, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. All that stuff helps with the algorithm, and we try to make money because it's hard out here on these streets. Now, we like to usually start the show by catching up and saying hi with everybody. So, gentlemen, how have your weeks been?
It's been good. Been busy. This week I made Red Hulk. I'll show you every week. It's me my new thing. I'm gonna show you what I made. So this week I made Red Hulk to go along with the Green
Kind of
Hulk.
orangey Hulk. He kind of like
It's the lighting. It's pretty red.
Oh, okay.
Nice. It's the lighting.
Nice.
And then I watched that The Boys Diabolical, which I never watched when it first came out, and it's really good. I really enjoyed it, and I was kicking myself, why didn't I watch this a long time ago? And I enjoyed it. And that is it.
Lawrence?
Man, I ain't do nothing. It's been crazy busy, but of course I've been watching My Adventures with Superman. It's amazing, Rich. It's so good. I think you would love it.
It's good. No, it's good. I have to catch up. I'm a couple episodes behind, but
Thank you, Chris.
I agree.
Rich has been doodling on it every week
because it's bad.
It's not bad though.
It's bad.
You don't have your soundboard today.
I don't.
I don't know.
Sure
I felt like you would have dropped something on that.
Are you sure?
Oh, sometimes you give someone too much value. I've been watching that, and honestly, I will say this, with the exception of maybe Superman and Lois, the best characterization of Superman to ever be in media. Period.
It is good. I mean, it is good, and he's definitely wholesome. That's for sure.
But it goes, if you keep watching, it's even more. It's just like his innate goodness is kind of natural and ridiculous. How just good he is. And if he messes up or he feels like he's wrong, how like emotionally hurt he is by the thought that he can even hurt anyone.
How many episodes are in the first season?
I don't know. I think it's still going.
It's still going.
I just watched a new one. Yeah,
it's uploaded.
It's still going.
Yeah, they just posted a new one recently.
This week. I think I'm like
good.
5 or 6.
And you're a Superman guy, Jack. I'm surprised you're not all over it.
No, life has just been lifey.
Life has been
lifey.
Life
is lifey.
But I think that's it, man. It's been very no. There was one thing. Nope. That's it. That's
Rich,
all I got.
What's up?
What's up, man?
Just chilling, working. Nothing has been happening except for those bells. Someone at the door.
Yeah, someone's walking around my house.
Well, go out there with the gun
Again?
and tell them to get out of here.
Now that we provoke.
Finished up Zom 100.
It's finished?
Well, the last episode that I've seen.
Oh, my bad. I watched that too. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. What else? That's really it. Oh, I started looking at Futurama, the latest.
Oh, that's
season.
the one on Hulu, right?
Yeah, it doesn't hit like it did back in the day. To be honest with you. Yeah, I don't even know why.
Shut up, Chris. He hates Hulu.
Been looking at Dr. Stone. Been looking at Nashville. Obviously One Piece because that's what we're doing today. And that is about it. Yeah, that's it.
Nice. Let's see. What have my week been like? I have been watching content. What content have I been watching? I don't even remember at this point. I really should have taken notes. Sorry. I did watch some of the Superman Adventures of Superman, and I am enjoying it. I don't know if I think it's the best, second best Depiction?
What's the best depiction of Superman as a character?
Oh, it's definitely it's Superman Lois.
Yeah, that's just him later on in life. It's a toss up between the two. One he has kids and he's
That's
married. The
fair.
other he's
That's
like,
fair. We're seeing a version of him where he's learning his powers and who he is and getting acclimated to all that stuff. That's definitely what this animated series is kind of about. So
yeah.
yeah, different time. Then they take some liberties with the canon, but so does everything that ever drops anything. So what's the difference, I suppose? I did pick up a comic that I'd like to tell you guys about.
What you got?
This is a Doomsday special.
Ooh.
Yeah, this is one of the variant covers. But
Hold on, Jack. Let me get you. I want to get a good look at that bad boy. Let me get you right. Yep.
Right. Front and center.
The cover is sick. That's true. And the story is pretty interesting. It's basically, oh man. All right, so I'm gonna spoil the comic book a little bit because this would be the only thing I talk about. It's basically Doomsday is in hell, and hell apparently exists officially in the DC canon because enough people believe in it, and so that's kind of the way. I don't know if you've read anything about the Department of Truth. That comic book, all of reality and existence as we know it, is based off of how much individuals believe in a thing or not. And so hell exists because people believe in it. So there's some similarities in that. So we have Doomsday is literally in hell.
Okay.
And Satan is kind of the devil, I guess I should say, is kind of scared because the powerarchy is getting messed up. Because what happens in hell is person is tortured and tortured and tortured and killed and back and tortured. And so Doomsday just keeps getting stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. And so they basically made a super Doomsday since he's been in hell. And now the devil is like, and people are starting to, the demons and the people being tortured. Now Doomsday's torturing them, and they're starting to see him.
Why do I
as,
get an image of Bob who just works 9 to 5 as a
It
demon?
kind of is,
His
right?
job is to torture Doomsday, and one day he's like,
Now
This is
Doomsday
I gotta call
tortured
HR
him.
about
this
this.
isn't working.
Right, exactly.
It should
But and
stop.
so then they start deifying Doomsday in hell, and that's a conflict of interest for the devil, right? And so the main characters in this are Supergirl and Martian Manhunter, but at the end of it, there's kind of a whole nother Superman who's introduced. This guy, who's kind of in a Martian Manhunter inspired outfit, and he's going through the layers of hell because he's got something to say to the big red fella, and he's got something he wants to say to Doomsday. But on the last page, they say, what's his name? Bloodwind, a Superman for hell. They never expected a Superman to be in hell. So this guy is supposed to be some sort of Superman variant.
Hold on. So the Superman variant that's in hell
Even.
is a black guy.
That's
Yeah.
right out the nose.
Yeah. But he is saving
Wow.
people, so there's that. And he's kind of got this whole Spawn thing going because he dug out chains every now and again when you first saw him. So there's something kind of cool about the comic. I'll probably pick up the next issue to see where it's going. Other than that, it's interesting. And the fear is that Doomsday may be able to escape, and this new version of Doomsday will be so overpowered. How could anyone possibly stop him? So
Sounds good.
it is pretty.
Said black Superman. Even hell has a Superman.
Hey, at least
and he wears polyester. Man,
take it where you can get it. At this point, though,
hey,
I think.
Why not? Cool.
And on that note, Lawrence,
Chris, I got a question for you, man. I'm so glad you're here.
What's that, Lawrence?
oh boy,
What do you call wait, hold on. Let's get this right. We're gonna do it. Let's do it right.
Give me
We're gonna do it. Let's do it
ha.
right.
Give me the ha.
Give me the
logo.
ha.
wow. Did we even get a joke yet?
You know, I
No.
like Rich. Give me
was a
that.
tran- that
Can I
was a
get the intro?
transition.
Can
I'm
I get
trying
the
to- trying-
intro again? Can I get the intro again? Chris, can I ask you a question?
Yes, you can, Lawrence.
What do you call an organized superhero?
What do you call an organized superhero?
Captain Plan It.
Captain Planet. He's a hero.
That was
I
great.
feel like inflection could have helped that one.
0.
Wow, thanks, Rich.
Wow, Rich.
Like you'd almost want to be like Captain Planned It.
No, Jack.
No joke.
Right. Well, let's
You
redeem
never
this
won.
segment by pushing on with the rest of the show. We're gonna leave that trash behind. Gonna run down the lights, skipping every light along the way. We're gonna find ourselves at the Collector's Corner.
It's show and tell time.
That's right, Lawrence. And here at the Collector's Corner, we're taking our toys out of the trunks, our video games out of the vaults, comic books out of the cases, and we're showing them to the world. They can be worth millions of dollars, or in Chris's case, just sent
You know
them.
what, you nerds? I got stuff that's worth money.
In Chris's case, handmade and painted by himself.
Emotional.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that. So, what do you guys got?
Go ahead,
Whatever, you
Chris.
jerks. I'm not coming
I'll
to
go
the collector's corner anymore.
Today, since we're talking One Piece, which, by the way, Rich,
What's up?
love the shirt.
Oh, thank you. Figure I put it on for the show, you know?
Little One Piece there. I'm showing off a couple of my One Piece toys. We got this guy, as you guys will recognize from the content.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on,
Zorro.
Jack. Let me give you some respect here. Let me give you some. There he is.
So we got Zorro. This is a pretty good action figure. It's got, I think it's got a little more than McFarlane's typical.
What is it?
27 points.
What is that? A fig? Not a Figma. Not a.
No, this is a different brand. I don't remember, man. I got them a while back, and that box is gone because I was just committed to keeping them. So, anyways, you got Zorro,
Can he put
and
it in his mouth?
he's got several different heads, one of which will hold a sword in it.
But can he put it in his mouth, Jack?
That's
Yes,
what we need to know.
he can put it in his mouth. Pause.
Yes, Rich.
And then of course,
We're ruining Jack.
we have Luffy. Now this is from later in the series. You can notice he's
Yeah, you got the
aged.
scar.
He's got the scar, and he's added the sash.
Yeah.
So there's all the stuff that went down with his brother, which happens way later in the series. Tragic. So these are my two of my One Piece action figures. And if you jump on Instagram, check out 3 Brothers and a Shot of Milk. I put a little video up showing a gift that I had made someone, and it is the Thousand Sunny ship, and it's pretty intricate. So if you got time and you're on Instagram already, go check us out, 3 Brothers and a Shot of Milk, and let us know what you think of that custom-made pirate ship.
Nice.
Right.
Chris, you got no choice. You gotta go.
That's it. So I got my Lego Creator 007, my Aston
Wow.
Martin
Wow.
Actually, pretty awesome.
5
Yeah.
expert rating, because obviously I'm an expert. And then,
How long is that gonna take you?
Who the hell knows? I'll probably start it and finish it in like 6 months. I'll start it, put it to the side,
Jeez.
and not touch it for months.
No, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's gonna go down. But yeah, it's cool. It has I think it has an ejecto seat, cuz. Right here.
Ejectocito, cuz.
There you go. Thank you, Rich. And then yeah, everything opens. It looks pretty dope.
Does it come with like a
Yeah.
little bond? Do you get it?
No. This
just
is
the
the
car.
creator, so it's not in the. It's not. It's it's the bigger scale.
Oh, okay.
So, but I'm excited to build it. So yeah,
Nice.
I appreciate a good Lego set.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
Schwanson,
Oh, me.
what you got, man?
Hey, so check it out. You know what I'm going to get, as you can see around me.
Hey.
I picked this guy up. First. I've had him for a while. Obviously, Hitoshi. I'm not gonna say his name.
Yeah.
My Hero Academia. It's the dude that can control people with his voice, if I'm not mistaken, or something to that nature.
I forgot about him. Yeah.
Yeah, this is out of the last season. No, the season before. No, it was the beginning of the last season. What was the season before? Either way,
I can't
it was when
remember.
the classes were coming together, and he was kind of like doubtful about how his powers work or like using his powers. But then I found the chase, him without a mask. That's pretty
No,
much
that's
what it is.
cool.
Yeah.
You think
Rich.
his powers would work better without a mask?
Well, his powers, I don't know how the mask. I think the mask amplifies his voice.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Can you describe what a chase is
A
for
chase
those?
is just a variant of a pop. So not all pops come with a chase, but when they do, usually the chase costs just a little bit more money than the pop itself.
And there's
So
not
it's
as
like
many made, right?
There's not as many made. So this one, the regular one has him with his mask on and pretty much the same pose, and then this one has him without the mask on.
so it's like a McFarlane when he
Yeah.
drops the same figure with a different head.
I guess, except you can't buy all of them. Not everyone have access to the chase. You gotta catch it where you catch it.
McFarlane's is doing a cash grab.
Yeah.
This is a legitimate like collector's item. McFarlane's like, got you.
Gotcha.
Yeah, this is what you wanted. Huh? Now
Yeah.
you got them both.
Man, y'all know that I'm a big He-Man fan. I got my San Diego Comic-Con exclusive He-Man right here, but I'm like, yo, my He-Man, he needs an Atom.
He does.
He needs an Atom. So Masters of the Universe Revelation just dropped their Atom figure, who looks like a Disney prince for some
He does
strange
look like
does.
it. That's Adam. Adam looks like a Disney
He
prince.
looks like a Disney prince, but for scale wise, they match pretty perfectly.
That's
I
cool.
have
Is
the
he,
power.
is Adam looks taller than He-Man.
He does.
Damn it, Jack! You just ruined my whole.
Oh!
He got that girth.
He-Man's
Yeah,
got
but-
him a little bit. He-Man's got him a little bit. But what's
How
cool-
many abs does that He-Man have?
All of them.
All of them. All of them.
Some.
But Adam, he comes with another smiling head. I don't know where is that. That's somewhere around here. It's not here right now. Because the laughing Adam image of like Adam laughing, Prince Adam laughing is kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And he comes with
Don't know
comes
that
with-
image.
the transforming sword. So you
Oh.
can like change it. So like his sword starts to glow when
Oh,
he transforms.
yeah.
And they give you a transforming sword. Jack, if you don't know the laughing Adam image, you are not a Master of the Universe fan.
Yeah,
And that
you
is
got me
all
on that one.
right. But yeah, man. So now the He-Man display in silhouette will be something like this. Something like that.
Nice.
Yo, you got to get like a whole light set up to sell.
Jack, it's coming. Don't even worry about it, Jack. Don't even worry about it. It's coming. It's coming. It was coming.
Well, speaking of coming, let's keep it going.
What? Sweet Anime Alley. We talking about. That's a perfect segue to Anime Alley.
That deep dog alley, baby.
Oh, what else are you gonna
Richard
do?
Wilson. Well, what anime were we talking about this week, Rich? You don't want to talk about anime.
I hate all of y'all. We're talking about Tengoku Daimai. Man, Heavenly Delusion. I'm not even gonna mess that one up. Where are you? Set 15 years after the fall of civilization. It alternates between two stories of Maru and Karuki, two children who journey through the ruins of Tokyo in search of mysterious place referred to only as heaven. And that of the group, school children with strange powers living in high-tech underground research facilities, one of whom bears a striking resemblance to Maru. Oh, it's probably a clone. But anyway, while searching for heaven, Maru and Kiruku are attacked by vicious otherworldly creatures that only Maru seems to possess the ability to destroy. Pretty much is on Hulu. I haven't watched this yet.
What's the name of it again? Well, you're telling us
I'm
about...
just going to get the English translation. It's Kengoku Daiomakyo. Daiomakyo. If I said
That's
that
the
right.
name of it.
Yes, I'm assuming this translates to Heavenly Delusion.
I see.
Yes, and it's on Hulu, so you can everyone except for Chris can
That's
watch
okay.
it.
That's
First, because it's
okay.
anime and it's on Hulu. Chris is not gonna watch it.
Hell no. There's zero chance Chris is watching Heavenly Journey or whatever.
Are you going to check this out, Rich?
Yeah, it says it's a memorable cast with interesting characters, beautiful animation, and engrossing post-apocalyptic mystery plot with twists that are profound as they are personal, and a terrific score.
That
Okay,
Sounds like
sounds
well,
dope.
we're
Yeah.
gonna need a follow up after you at least consume a few episodes, so we can actually
Yes.
endorse this or not endorse this.
Yeah, it sounds like my thing. I love always like a post-apocalyptic theme.
That's
Mystery
true.
creature stuck in a bunker somewhere and you're trying to find out what happened to the world. Like the future generations trying to find out, and the parents aren't telling you nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I like that
Okay.
mystery.
All right. Let us know if we should check it out.
I will.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think
Okay.
it's time for the news.
It's time for the news. Man, there's not much news because there's an ongoing strike, but I was able to dig up some stuff. Man. So, speaking of the strike, Marvel's Echo, Agatha, Agatha, the Darkhold series, X-Men 97 are all delayed
No,
at Disney
not
Plus.
Agatha.
Yeah,
X-Men 97. They already rolled out the toys for X-Men 97.
they did. They did.
Mm.
The whole timeline's out of whack here. Yeah, man, it's been delayed from Echo's been delayed from November 29th to January. Chris, answer your doorbell.
I'm not answering the front door.
And X-Men 97 has moved from fall 2023 to early 2024. So that's not so bad. That's not
Yeah.
too crazy. And they're still working on a season 2 of it. So I guess they got a greenlit for season 2 and hopefully we'll see some of this stuff. As far as Loki, that's going to premiere October as we know and the What If series is dated for winter 2023. So that stuff still appears to be where dropping on time, Loki and What If, but everything else.
It's really gonna be 2024 where we're sitting here going, "Why aren't we watching anything?"
Dude, I mean, we're talking like we would have had Daredevil by that point.
Yeah.
Probably after Echo, Daredevil would have dropped somewhere soon after that, I imagine, top of 2024, but who knows, because their production halted with no signs of anything. And it's one thing to start production, it's one thing to be in the middle of it and like you're down for like 100 days. I don't know. It's kind of crazy. Giancarlo Esposito teases joining the DCU after talks with James Gunn, and fans are speculating who could he possibly jump on board to play. There's so many people he could play. Obviously, he'd make the dopest freaking Lex Luthor. I mean, he'd be a sick Lex
Who?
Luthor.
Gene Carlos Exposito? Who's that?
Yeah, he was from
You know,
Breaking
Rich. You know who he is.
Yeah, he's from The Boys.
Oh, okay. Why don't you
He
say?
was Esteban and Fresh.
Yes, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Yes, he'd be a great Lex Luthor.
He'd be a great Magneto too, but
Magneto, like, literally should be Jewish. It's pretty
yes.
like tied to his whole situation.
he could be Ethiopian.
Yeah, you're right. I just feel so. Equalizer 3 won the box
Ethiopian
office,
Jew?
and with the second biggest Labor Day weekend opening, I didn't even know it came out.
I didn't
But,
either.
but
I knew
come
they
here
were
for-
making it, but I didn't think it was going to be out right now. All right.
It's out, man. It's out, and so far it looks like it's doing. I would love to see like an Equalizer Taken crossover, where it's like Liam Neeson and Denzel are like she's taken, and he's like, and now she's equalized. Something.
You hear his talks of his
Does John
son.
Wick walk into this?
Yes,
scenario
John Wick
happening?
walks in like, whoa. It's yeah. What you say, Rich?
You hear this talk? I heard his talks of his son playing a possible Equalizer 4 of like a
Prequel?
I
predating.
heard
Oh, that'd be cool.
that
He's a good
rumor.
actor, John
Yeah,
David
they're
Washington.
throwing that
Like
around.
if he wants to get out of his father's shadow, that's
It's not really the way to do it.
That's the
True.
opposite. But that would be dope. That can spin off a whole other franchise.
Yeah.
Because we don't really know much about this dude.
Nah.
So that'd be
His
dope.
son or the character?
The character.
Just kidding.
It,
It was just
yeah. So SAG-AFTRA is looking to get authorization for a second strike, this time against video game companies.
Yep.
Similar situation as the streaming, which is fighting against AI and fair rate wages, a raise in pay, but pretty much fighting against of AI taking over jobs is what's going on here.
Skynet. Didn't Skynet go live in the movie like in August 29th?
Yeah, but it was like in the 90s. That's an interesting one. I mean, I understand. I do and I don't understand.
I understand it completely. This is, first of all, actors who are in video games gross more money than movies do. Yet the actors that are used in their performances, the motion capture, their likeness, they don't get residuals off these games. You just get paid, and then that's it. So now you're telling me
the biggest industry
Wait,
is
so you
the
get
video
paid?
game industry.
But you get paid.
You do get paid.
you get paid, but when you buy, so you're telling me Jay-Z should only make money off of making the blueprint, but you never get paid money after
They got
record
a different,
sales?
They got a different contract, different deals in music.
We don't got a different contract. We got the same contract. AI is the gray area where it's like, how much of my image can you create on your own, and how much ownership do I have over my own face? And you can now computer generate my voice and my performance. So if you're coming into my house about to use all the ingredients in my cabinet to make a souffle, you're going to sell said souffle, I don't get a percentage of that souffle?
That's right. Well, it's like if Cyberpunk wants to just keep putting Keanu Reeves in there,
and they will keep putting him in there. They got
there's
a
so
new
much
game
money.
coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but it's not even about Cyberpunk. It's about, I don't know who owns Cyberpunk. It's like Activision somehow got the rights to Keanu Reeves, period. Makes a brand new game that he has no connection to. It can drop him in there. We can use our AI to create your image, create your voice, create the whole nine. And you don't even got to be a part of it. And if you sign some contract, you don't even have a say. That's like Rich. You're some wholesome actor, you know, and you're doing this wonderful video game. It's like, yo, let's create an OnlyFans AI with Rich's image.
It's like that episode of Black Mirror. Black Mirror had an episode just like that.
That's already out there. I'm sorry. I just can't.
But you already got an OnlyFans?
Well, I wonder how parody law plays into some of that. Because you can.
There we go.
You can't parody a human being. You can parody a character.
No, of course you can. You can parody a human being. Of course you can.
You can't say, watch this movie with Lawrence St. Victor is AI. You can parody Lawrence St. Victor in a sketch. But you can't like use our images and then create a whole thing and get nothing from it.
That's interesting.
That's called bootlegging.
But where are they making content with just like say you? Like where are they saying watch Lawrence St. Victor in this new movie?
They're not. But the issue is if these things aren't ironed out in contracts now,
they can.
Then it'll be too long, too far down the road before they revisit these things and negotiate them. That's what happened with streaming. For a long time, streaming and Netflix and all this stuff had this new media contract, and everybody signed them like, fine, it's new media. No one should be getting paid what they're worth. No one's getting real residuals because it's new media. They looked at Netflix like it was YouTube for decades. And then when they wanted to renegotiate, it was like too late. It was like too much has already happened.
Didn't Ellen Page when Ellen Page was Ellen Page, didn't she win a lawsuit against the game that kind of stole her likeness?
I can't remember if the lawsuit was won, but there was definitely a lawsuit.
I know
it was Last of Us. It was Last of Us.
Was it?
That was the game.
I thought it was The Last of Us. Yeah,
it was the last. I forgot the other game, but basically, so yeah, that's how AI works, and artistic material is a lot different than other jobs. You get paid off of your artistic contribution. And if that artistic contribution keeps making money, then you should also be compensated for it continuing to make money. And the new technology creates loopholes within that deal. That's the jelly. So we'll see. We'll see. The Flash's debut on Max has fewer viewers than Black Adam.
No way.
Thing is crapping the bed everywhere.
Second time?
Oh man.
Wait, hang on. Let me put some of this in context as far as the union stuff. Not to double back on that, but it used to be the pay differential between talent and the studios, producers, and stuff was 30-1. Now it's 400-1. So the disparity is so ridiculous. There's tons of money, but it's all just kind of going in one spot. It's not being distributed in any kind of way that actually kind of stimulates or helps the economy, you know?
And the whole idea of residuals, like you go back in the day and people sold novels, they got royalties off the novels. But no, the studios, like, we own all the content, but our way of doing a version of that is residuals. That's why residuals even exist, because no one's actually getting a royalty. Like, I wrote a book and every time it sells, I get paid. They
Right.
don't do that. We own the whole thing, but you'll get kicked back a residual here and there. They found the loophole to get around it because of streaming. If it doesn't, if we don't sell your show to different markets, then you don't get to get paid. It's just going to live on this platform forever. Same eyes are going to watch it. Same numbers are going to watch it. I think the writer of Suits, because you all know that Suits has had a juggernaut. It's like Netflix. It's like number
Yeah,
one
what
on
the, hell, what
Netflix.
the heck's going on? No one watched Suits was on USA. Now everyone watches it on
Yo,
Netflix.
they said it got 1 billion minutes watched on Netflix, and the creator of Suits said, "Yeah, I got $3,000." Netflix is making hand over foot, and the creator of the series only got $3,000.
So what do you think the other people made?
So who do you think? Yeah, that writer in the room who penned 1 episode or 2 episodes. You can't eat. Can't eat. Pokemon's getting a live action dramatic series.
A series?
A live action dramatic series. It may only air in Japan, but apparently it's going to be called Pocket Filled with Adventure. It's not going to have characters, I think, from the cartoon, but it will have characters from the video game. It looks
The
like.
same characters are in the video game that are in the cartoon. What are you talking about?
But the image it's showing is not of Pikachu. It's of, I don't know who. It's on IGN. I don't know who this is.
It looks
Is
like
that Mr. Mime?
no, it's the guy with the hand. Oh yes, Mr. Mime.
It's Mr. Mime.
So I don't know, and I don't know if we'll get it, but
Well,
interesting.
if they're showing that character, there'll be all the characters you typically see in Pokemon content.
I think you probably will not see Pikachu. I guarantee
You might not see Pikachu specifically, but you might see that Pokemon species.
Yeah.
Okay.
They say like Raichu or Pichu or something like that, like involved in that involved mode.
Right.
Barbie surpasses Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2 as Warner Brothers' highest grossing film ever.
The saga about the struggle of men in this country prevails once again. Thank you, Barbie, for telling our story.
I mean, Barbie is pretty much the white girl's Black Panther.
Yeah, I saw that.
Wow, Rich,
Panther.
Rich, throw a freaking bomb on that. Throw one of them Funkmaster Flex bomb on that.
I don't have a bomb. That's not how that works. But I got this.
Barbie is the white girl's Black Panther. I'm with that. Because I'll tell you what Black Panther did for me. And if it did that for them, I'm happy for you. Because guess what? Wakanda forever. And if wow. And then Ryan Gosling is like Michael B. Jordan? Is that what it is?
From what I understand.
Wow.
You guys should see it. It's a good movie.
Wow. That's good. That was a good one. And that's the news. That's the news.
I got one more other bit of news. Last week you were talking about how, I forget what studio you said, they're doing a MonsterVerse.
Universal. Wait. No. That was week before last. Chris,
Yeah,
I think that
I
was
talked
you.
about that.
Oh, you talked
Apple,
about that.
Yeah, Apple was doing it.
Apple's doing a MonsterVerse with Godzilla, King Kong, and all those guys. And so when I was checking out comic books that are going to be dropping later, I noticed that DC is doing a monster crossover with Godzilla, King Kong, and all those guys, where looks like the entire DC universe is going to be battling them.
That's kind of cool. It's going to be the same crossover garbage that we always see, but it's kind of cool to see these guys
I
fight.
guess they're like, is Godzilla just?
A portal's going to open. He's going to end up in the DC universe. And you have to get.
But is he
push him
public
back.
domain or something? Like, I feel like everyone's able to use Godzilla in anything. Godzilla pops up in everything.
Or someone's just like so happy to make that money. Let's share them.
I think there's like a Power Rangers versus Godzilla comic somewhere.
Yeah, but that almost makes more sense than
It
this.
makes way more sense to have a Zord fighting a giant monster. That's pretty much every episode of Power Rangers
Yes.
ever.
Hello, thank you, Chris, for
Yeah.
the logic there.
That'd be funny if
there's
Godzilla
literally-
showed up to Angel Grove and like Jason's like, hold my juice smoothie.
And Godzilla just destroys everyone because he's not a Rita Repulsa monster. He's a real monster.
That's not where I was going with it at all, Chris. I
like Chris's way better
because you're
but there's this image of like King Kong holding onto the Daily Planet as Superman's struggling to deal with him. I'm like, he's still just a big monkey versus Superman.
Yeah, but Jack, you know that Superman
is he Godzilla an ape, not a monkey? He's a gorilla?
No, Godzilla's not a gorilla.
Man, I hate to be offensive.
It wasn't offensive until you just said
Godzilla's not a gorilla.
It's not offensive.
There's a difference between monkeys, gorillas, apes, and orangutans.
You're talking about the wrong. You're talking about the wrong monster. Godzilla is the lizard.
Right, King Kong. That just really actually proves my point even more. And on that note, I think it's time for a debate.
Let's get ready to rumble.
All right, this is a 3-part debate, so we're going to keep the first 2 parts pretty brief, and we'll just take them as they come. Part 1. We're talking anime, we're talking One Piece. So, first question, subs or dubs?
Subs all day.
Dubs all day.
Dubs.
Subs.
First of all, you don't get it. You don't get a response, Chris. You don't even watch it.
You're divided.
You don't even watch it right now.
I'm a hardcore anime enthusiast. All of our tens of fans know how much I love anime.
I'm so tired of you.
Peep game. This is my my pitch for why dubbing is better. This is my pitch. The way the studios in Japan made their content to be watched was to be watched, not to be read while it's being watched. So if you have a good dub, you're actually experiencing the content the way they made it. They didn't make it for you to split your focus between reading the subtitles and looking up at the action. They wanted you to hear the dialogue and see the action at the same time. Now, I will say, I will do dubbed live action. I will do a subtitled live action anything. I don't like a voice being separate from the film. Yeah. I don't like that, but that's the way they did.
Listen, that's a really great point, Lawrence. Right up until you actually start looking at content specifically. And I would say older content is actually way harder for me to watch when it's dubbed because the emotion and the language always feels wrong. Whereas nowadays there's more emphasis to find good performances and better translations, I think. But it's still
that's probably
case by
true.
case. It's like I couldn't even, when I originally started watching the original One Piece animated series, right? I could not watch the dubbed because I just couldn't get into any of the characters' performances. True. Luffy sounded like Bart Simpson to me, and I was like, what? And so the emotional truth and the earnestness and the wholesomeness of the character just really shine through in the Japanese language more than in the English translation.
What about newer anime? Do you feel the same way about like?
Well, that's where it's like it's a gray. For me, it's like I'll try it out, but I typically even play like video games and stuff with the
subtitle.
Yeah, subtitle. Like I'd rather just kind of hear the emotion normally sounds more appropriate to me.
Ghost of Tsushima, both casts are killing it.
But video games are a funny thing too, because especially depending on how much money and backing is in that game, sometimes it's like, wow. and it's intended. They knew it going into it, not retroactively. And a lot of the problems with some of this sub content is those subs were really retroactive, and
Yeah.
it's kind of a hit and a miss. Like
Mhm.
I've been surprised. I've seen some live actions where the the dubs are like so spot on. It's hard to even tell they're dubs. And it's
Mhm.
like the whole thing is a totally different language, but they're doing it in English, and it's so translated where it syncs up with the lips so well. And they went and they landscaped, they put in all the foliage stuff, and you're like, it feels appropriate. It's a
Mhm.
hit and a miss though.
Yeah. Rich, have you ever watched My Hero dubbed at all?
Maybe a little bit, but most of it's been subbed.
Do you think the
I
dub
like
does a
the.
good job?
Uh,
No.
I appreciate the sub better.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. All right. All right. Well, 2-2.
Okay,
I guess Chris doesn't count.
Why don't I count?
nah, he definitely don't count. The
Look,
next question is anime versus cartoons. If you could only have one without the other, which would you choose and why?
Chris, what's your answer?
uh,
I'm dying to find
yeah,
out.
cartoons, hands down. I don't watch anime now. There'll be zero change in my life. It's zero, except I wouldn't have Dragon Ball Z.
Wow.
Uh, I I would keep anime. What are we talking about?
You would keep anime
I
over
would keep anime.
over
Anime,
cartoons?
animes have
Yeah.
way better stories than these cartoons, bro. What are you talking about?
It's apples and oranges. Yeah. I mean, you're talking about long
First
form
of all, why
storytelling.
can't fruit be compared? Fruit can be compared, okay? Anime have better stories than these cartoons. What are we talking about?
It depends. It's different. Like SpongeBob is built different than freaking Dragon Ball Z. They're made to be different.
Right, but I'm thinking more of the cartoons of like Superman or Batman,
Batman
Justice
the
League.
animated series is
Batman the animated
fantastic,
series.
but
I'm
it's
still
built to be a procedural.
rock most of these animes.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you because they're different. Batman anime series is each episode's a case at a time, one and done. Anime is like you're watching a long form storytelling, more character
Well,
development.
you can say what X-Men was long form.
And they had like a 3 episode arc. Stop.
They did.
Yeah,
3 episode
Yeah.
arc.
Or
Stop.
usually.
Young Justice.
I would say that's anime influenced.
Hmm.
Young Justice is totally anime influenced,
Mm.
just like freaking Avatar: Last Airbender. All those are just influenced by
Mm.
anime. So if I had to choose one, I'm choosing regular cartoons. Not because I think they're better than anime, but because my favorite characters aren't regular cartoons.
This one's really hard for me because
You choose the anime, Berserk, Jack. Come on, stop it.
I'm literally wearing the Berserk shirt, but it's hard
Yeah.
for me because I wouldn't trade as a kid watching the original Batman animated series. I was on that constantly as a kid watching Animaniacs or Tailspin and
The
stuff
real
like that.
Ghostbusters. Come on.
Yes, man.
But I also say this: as a kid, the series I was always running to go watch was like Ronin Warriors. I was just loved the content. It was like
Yeah.
always stuck with me. And when I think of the things I love most now, looking back, it is Berserk, and it is anime is a funny thing because man, it's really oddly campy in certain ways, but the action is not depicted like nothing touches action the way anime depicts action. And as a boy growing up, action is cool. So I don't know, man. This one's a really
We have
hard one for
the
me.
censors though. It's different because a lot of our favorite cartoons are network cartoons that are
Yes.
limited by what they're allowed to do. I mean, when Lawrence and I would talk about Batman, there's a ton of like facts like this guy can hold this gun, but he can't hold this gun. You can't have a gun that you can have a handgun shown because a child can recognize a handgun. So they're allowed to, or they do have a handgun, they can't fire it, but they're allowed to fire like machine guns and stuff because that's not something that they would find in the house. So a lot of that stuff, a lot of the stuff we grew up with is really heavily influenced and kind of watered down or constricted by networks.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could honestly answer this question if I said I had to retroactively go back in time and erase one from existence so I could have the other. I don't
This
know.
is your question, Jack. You have
I
to
know.
answer it.
Well, but here's what I think I could answer. Moving forward,
Mm-hmm. That's easy.
That's easy.
You've already watched Superman. How many more Superman cartoons do you need to watch? You already watched them all. You can easily watch anime from this point forward. I can honestly say, if you had to choose one to go watch going forward, I'll choose anime right now. Going forward, I'll say anime. Ever erasing everything from the past?
see, I don't know.
No.
Yeah, and
Real
it's like, I guess
Ghostbusters, The Simpsons. Like, let's not
Yeah.
get caught up on superheroes. The Simpsons.
Family Guy, even Rick and Morty.
Oh,
Some of those
Rick and
man,
are
Family
Morty.
Guy's
Rich, you
hysterical.
love Rick and Morty.
Last per minute. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
What?
so I
Hold
guess
on. Rick and Morty also is influenced by anime. They have a lot of
well, the
anime
thing that's
influenced
crazy now is they both are influencing both now.
Well, once cartoons started getting to long form storytelling, they're jumping into anime's, ocean. They're jumping into that ocean of character arcs and callbacks, and this story is going to take place over episode manga. It's not the Law and Order like Batman. Anime sees Law and Order. It's like the villain of the day. We
Yep.
beat him. We move on to the next one. That being said, ever American cartoons ever going forward, anime for sure. Anime's dope, Chris. You tripping? You are actually tripping. There's an anime for everybody.
That's me. I mean, yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Let me tell you, I try. I go with an open mind, and
You
I
don't.
try.
You don't go with open mind. You won't watch it on Hulu first. You won't watch it subtitled. You only watch it dubbed.
You don't watch subtitles, Negro. You can barely read.
I can't read.
All right. And the last part of the debate question is, now we've seen a lot of Western cartoons and Western content get anime treatment. Anified. Superman, Batman, Star Wars, of course. The list just goes on and on for days. The question is there anime, manga, or Eastern content that you would like to see turned into a westernized cartoon version? Now, that being said, obviously we know that this is a gross simplification, as there's well over 30 different known animation styles that are constantly being used and employed and innovated as the thing goes on. And we know that at this point, both anime and animation and cartoons are largely influencing both. But the nature of the question still stands, I think, because we know what we're talking about. So if you could take something that's anime or manga or of that variety and give it the Western treatment, so to speak, what would you choose, and how do you think it would improve the content?
I would love to hear Rich's answer, because honestly, I think if you take anime and turn it into a westernized cartoon, you're stripping it of all depth. You're stripping it of characterization. You're stripping out all the story points. So I would love to see, Rich, what anime do you love? Do you want to see ruined by the American studio? It's true. It's like, you don't get more depth.
Listen, mine's simple and it's pretty basic. It would be High School of the Dead.
No, wait, you don't get to give yourself mic drops. I'm sick of this.
And
High
wait,
School of the Dead.
You have it depicted, though.
It ended up. How would I have it depicted?
Yeah.
I mean, it'll be a bunch of high school kids, and I'll just say, what would be the best place to do it? I'll say Texas would be the best place to do this in high school.
But what would it be like? Because like now you have to change the anime of it and make it American. So like, is it going to be like what cartoons is it modeled after?
Like
now?
what cartoon style?
And also like the way the story is laid out.
The story will be the same. There'll be no difference to the story. It'll just be different backgrounds and different settings.
You just improved High School of the Dead. Dramatic.
It's High School of the Dead. I mean, instead of the kendo class, there will be like softball or
But I'm saying, most American cartoons that'll run for nowadays, if you're talking long form story, 10 episode arcs, like we don't do the anime version of storytelling where we drop episodes upon episodes, slowly building characters. We don't do that.
Well, this one ended in 12 episodes because the creator died. So I would like to see this one get remade in that and then continue on.
Yeah. I guess I say you would lose.
What will we lose? Hold on. First of all, has anyone seen High School of the Dead?
We have not seen High School of the Dead.
We ain't gonna lose much out of this one. All right.
Oh, is that why you're throwing it to the fire?
We ain't gonna lose much out of this
Hey.
one. You can't lose too much out of this one. I'm letting you know right now.
Fair. Well done.
I would say
Well
something like, I wonder if, because the thing that's hard to me again is, like, I wouldn't want to see Berserk in any other style. I wouldn't necessarily want to see a lot of things in a style that's not. But then I start thinking, well, what if I look at some of like the Studio Ghibli stuff, and I go, a lot of that content, like Spirited Away or something, is
My neighbor
again.
Totoro.
Oh, what a great one! I wonder, my neighbor is such a good film as it is, but I wonder what like a Pixar version of that, because Pixar, what they do is they're still really connected to the heart and the story.
Mhm.
And so something like that might actually translate okay. I don't think it necessarily be better, but I think it
Berserk?
could actually work. Berserk? No. What would I want? The thing I like about Berserk is it's dark, it's gritty.
So wait. So what are you choosing then? I missed what you're choosing.
I would have to try to find something that syncs up to strengths of the studios that make that content.
So what are you choosing?
I think it would be a safe thing to choose something like.
Let's pick someone safe. That's right.
That's right.
A safe anime.
That's right.
That's right.
Well, like, for example, Katora Lives Alone might work really well in a like a Pixar setting.
It would.
Yeah.
It definitely would.
It's true. It's true.
It hits you all in the feels.
It hits you on the feels, and so to move something like that to something like that still focuses on the strength and the main theme of the content, right? Where I don't feel like changing the animation loses what's most important about it. So I think I'd choose something like that.
Okay.
You say so. Part of your question was also like, how does it strengthen the content?
How does it make it better? I don't know that it strengthens the content, but if I took something like Katora Lives Alone and I made it and I gave it a Pixar platform, it'd probably reach a larger market, which would be good for the content and good for the story getting out.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay.
And you have a lot of kids out here like, I do it myself. I
Right.
emancipate myself from you, mother.
Yeah,
father.
it's ruin Western civilization.
If Kataro can do it, I can too. I'm running away.
You'll be back. My choice. I honestly think there is no smooth transition. Even with that, there's something about Katara Lives Alone being episodes of storytelling versus just a movie. There's something about the long form nature of anime that gets you invested in the characters. Like anime slow burns you into loving these people, and we don't have stuff like that here. That being said, I would probably choose My Hero Academia, like a type of X-Men cartoon. We would lose a lot of the heart of it, but we would get a lot of the superhero. Superhero part would be intact and then some. We would lose some of the heart. We would lose the heart. There'd be no, these pubescent kids won't be crying every time something's happening, Rich. we'll lose the heart, but it'll make up for it in action.
That's a good form. That's a good point, Lawrence. And the other thing that really, like, these anime series really are long form in the sense of, like, I remember being surprised when I was watching Berserk that the protagonist didn't just age, he continued to age and then continued to age, and so did all the other characters. Something fun about watching One Piece for me was they always changed their clothing. Like they were
Yeah.
constantly changing their clothes. And when I watch most Western cartoons, they wear the same
Yo, Bruce Wayne in that brown blazer and tan pants.
right? It's like there's the
like
but
Dwight
like
from The Office.
yeah. So there's some I don't know. There's something special about it. Okay, so I guess that's
I mean, yeah, you'll get a lot of action. I wouldn't rock with it like that. It wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't. Because
Rich.
the reason why people love it is because
The heart.
right.
I don't watch.
I mean, the
enough
action
anime.
is dope.
I don't watch enough anime to know enough bad anime to sacrifice to the fire like you. I don't have anything I could just throw in the fire.
I'll be like, man, look how they butchered this. It's all but just nothing but superpowers and people getting blown up. Like what? I don't know. I don't know these people.
Right,
I don't care about these kids anymore.
Let me see if I can come back to something else. Chris, you go. Let me see if I can come back to something else.
Yeah, Robotech. I would love to see a Robotech, done by like the guys who did Young Justice. It'd be dope.
Would it?
Is Robotech?
I gave a legit answer. You guys look at me like I said something crazy. Like I said like a hentai or something. Robotech is a real anime that I actually watch. I actually own the videos.
Yeah, it's a real anime, but would it be better?
Yeah. I would like it better.
By Young Justice?
Yeah.
We do. Young Justice's whole thing is heavily influenced by anime.
Still. It would still be the style. I would like the animation better, and I'd probably get into it more.
You know, it doesn't have to be the permanent thing. It could be like a one-off thing. You know, like we're seeing.
Don't lower the stakes, Jack.
No.
Don't lower the stakes.
But by that nature, I wouldn't necessarily want to see a lot of the stuff that has had anime treatment stay.
Oh, are you talking about Batman Ninja? Wasn't a blockbuster for you, Jack?
First of all,
Emotional.
don't ever bring that one up again. That was horrible.
What was that? No, that's not gonna work. Yeah, I mean, My Hero for the action. I'm sorry. Like, there's nothing else. What else is there? What else is there?
I already put one on the chopping block. It was High School of the Dead.
Or I would do Dino Hunter, which is a show that Sebastian used to love on Netflix. This kid catches dinosaurs. It's kind of like Pokemon, but with dinosaurs. And it ended after 2 seasons. And I think if Nickelodeon picked it up, it'd be
something
great.
like Pokemon could also work kind of as a
yeah. You do it like a Paw Patrol type animation, real round happy faces. That Dino Hunter would definitely work. And then you do your computer animated dinosaur fights. That would work.
I mean, Ronin Warrior would work. It's like freaking Power Rangers, the cartoon.
There's something about that. Yeah, true.
I mean, we're just gonna use Americanized anime and turn it into American cartoons. We're gonna take things that were like crazily dubbed and made for our audiences and cut together so we like them, and we're gonna turn those into American cartoons. Chris, you are cheating. You got to deep dive into some anime.
You know how deep? That's me going deep.
That's the level of his depth there. Please don't attack Chris.
My anime goes.
Wow. I'm surprised he made it this far in the debate.
Yeah.
All right. Any final remarks?
I know Rich doesn't like comparing fruit, and you're right. We shouldn't. They're their own person. But I would say anime and cartoons are apples and oranges.
No. You can compare fruit, okay? You can absolutely compare fruit. I don't know where this phrase came from. Apples and oranges. You can absolutely compare fruit, okay? They're different. You can compare them.
But if you like oranges, you might be an orange guy. And that doesn't mean apples are bad. They're just apples. They're like, they're not like in the melon family, right? It's not like they're both melons.
Why can't you compare melons?
It's not. He's right. We are talking fruit because it's not vegetables.
Yeah. What?
Yeah.
What the
right?
What are we talking about?
let's get to the reason why we're here.
It's time for the main event.
That's right. It's time for the main event, and today we are talking One Piece, the new Netflix live action series that is number one on their charts right now.
I got something for this. I got something for this.
Go ahead.
That's the intro. It's for these fools that don't know. On
Right.
the other side of the TV.
I watched One Piece and I
Wait,
freaking hated
Did
it.
you?
I watched it when
Yeah,
I
I
was
know.
on Fox Kids.
Yeah. How about this one? I don't know about that one. Okay. All right. Okay.
But that's One Piece?
That was
Yeah,
One
well,
Piece.
One sound like
Piece changed
Laverne
their
and Shirley, and one sound like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Bro,
One
that was the
Piece
thing. That's the thing
changed
about
their
anime. They change out the intros.
They
That's
do,
true.
and it makes me mad. It makes me mad, Rich, because I'll be digging
Does
one
it?
intro, then out of nowhere with no like regard.
Lawrence is
Because
like, I don't like change.
Yo,
I don't like it.
Death Note changed their intro like 5 times. It's like a 1-season joint. Changed the intro 5 different times. Anyways, go ahead, Jack.
So we will be talking about the series. There's only 8 episodes. We're going to focus most of our commentary towards the first 4 episodes, but we'll loosely kind of dabble the last 4 as we're going. Let's start with, I guess I'll give the synopsis and we'll do our spoiler free. So synopsis of One Piece is: young boy Luffy decides to set sail to become the king of the pirates, and along the way he crews a motley crew of pirates to help him along the way.
That's it. He's after the
That's
treasure.
it.
One
Pretty
Piece
much
treasure.
it, yeah.
Mucky D. Luffy. I'm going to be king of the pirates. I think that could have been a drinking game.
Every time
Times he
Monkey
said
D.
that.
Luffy.
Okay. All right, Lawrence, spoiler free thoughts?
Spoiler free thoughts, man. I don't think I've ever rolled my eyes so hard watching content to be won over than to roll my eyes again. I went back and forth on this thing. I was like, this is actually ridiculous. It doesn't work. If you don't know it's an anime, if you come in cold, you'll be like, what is this? Only to be like, this is amazing. This is so endearing. To then immediately go back to like, what is this? Goosebumps, Wizards of Waverly Place show I'm
Lawrence. That is One Piece.
I know, and I think as an anime, it's easier to get around that. But when you're watching live action and you don't know the source, sometimes the campy is too camp without context.
That's pretty fair.
Okay.
That's pretty fair. That's fair. That's a fair spoiler free. Rich, what do you think? Spoiler free.
I mean, I know where it was coming from, and I think they did a pretty decent job at translating compared to the other live action.
How would you compare it to Cowboy Bebop?
Oh no, Cowboy Bebop was great. All right, Cowboy Bebop was because Cowboy Bebop wasn't really crazy in the animation. I mean, besides just some of like the fighting scenes and like the outer space stuff. But other than that, the Cowboy Bebop translated with no problem.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is with a lot of these other animes is, there's a lot of things you can't really make happen in real life without like a lot of CGI and stuff like that. So this one, despite all that, it I think it translated pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it still got that One Piece camp and whatnot that made me roll my eyes. And also what made me roll my eyes with One Piece was the animation and just how some of the characters looked. They're just someone just outlandish. Like you saw even with like Orlong,
Wait,
Mm-hmm.
the actual anime made you roll your eyes as well, not just
a bit, yeah. Because some of it was like it's weird going off of like some stuff that's like slightly reality based. I guess you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've seen like weird mutant creatures, but some of these creatures was just even like the regular like humans. They were like weird looking dudes, like dude with metal jaw and everything like that. You know what I'm saying? It was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Weird shaped people. Like there's a lot of weird stuff, but the story is what kept me going for One Piece. So I think just off. Well, we're doing spoiler free, right? So yeah. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a pretty decent translation.
Chris?
It made me wish I loved the content. Like I wish I loved the source material because I feel like if I love the source material, seeing it in live action, I felt like I was watching a live action anime, so it made me wish I loved the source material more because then I would get that goosebumps, like get excited when he do stuff because I felt like it was an anime and a really, really, really a live action anime. So, but besides that, I thought it was all right. I liked it. It was a good time. I mean, I despised the show as a kid. I tried to watch it and I hated it on Fox Kids. Hated it, hated it, hated it. And the show itself was all right. But
Well, that's a come up from hating something to being all right.
yeah.
I agree with what everyone's saying because there's something. What I said going into this was if they manage to capture the heart of these characters, then the content will at least be watchable. And I feel like they do manage to capture the heart where there are some moments, and we'll get into them specifically as we kind of dive the content, but they do kind of land. But I know, like what you're saying, obviously I was a fan of the anime. I've read the manga, and so to see this thing live action, there was more payoff and
Yeah.
richness to the content because I understand all these characters. And I will say, yes, it is. It is pretty faithful to the content as far as story and characterization. I'd say the biggest change I noticed was just they had to condense what's hundreds of episodes
Yeah.
into 8 episodes, and so that's the biggest thing. Is
Wait, is the first 8 episodes like how much of the anime do they capture?
the first 8 episodes are like, I think it's the first.
Well, they could. Well, hold on. The whole
It's
East Blue was
yeah.
61 episodes.
That's what. So you're looking at 60 something episodes condensed into 8. Now,
Yeah. So,
granted, anime is has a lot of repeat stuff, and they're like 20 to 30-minute episodes. So,
yeah, and you got
but it's
fillers
still
and all that.
it's a lot of content, and we'll talk specifically about how they managed to kind of condense stuff and where I thought it worked and didn't necessarily work. But overall, I'd say it was a very surprisingly faithful adaptation, and I was anticipating not really enjoying it, and I ended up actually enjoying it. And the only thing I was sad about was there wasn't another episode after the 8th.
That's a good way to leave off.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm definitely hoping that they get another season, a few seasons, because I'd actually like to see them get to the Grand Line, and it takes a minute before they get there.
And you know what? That's another thing about anime that I hate, that I love and hate is I know we're not getting to the Grand Line anytime soon. You can just feel it in an anime. Like we're not getting to where they try to go for at least 100 episodes.
Well, I'll say this: the way they
Man.
have fast tracked the content, I would be surprised if they don't actually get there within the first couple of episodes of the next season.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's moving quick. All right, let's spoil this thing a little bit.
Well, I mean, they don't get to the Grand Line. If I'm not caught up with it at all, but they don't get to the Grand Line for quite some time, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I'm saying. Yes,
It's like a few arcs.
that's correct.
So that's like season 3 then, maybe.
Right. I think it's 3 or 4 when they actually get there. I could be wrong.
Netflix time. If Netflix does it,
No, I think Netflix gonna fast track it. They're gonna put the rest of the crew together that they need for the Grand Line arc to start, and then I think they probably jump into it.
It hasn't started yet. What are we watching?
They're putting the crew together.
It's the longest origin story you've ever seen in your life.
This is like just the beginning of
He's
Ocean's
putting-
11.
he's putting
This
his
whole
crew
series is
together.
Oh
just
no, I
the
take that
beginning
back.
of Ocean's
They get
11.
there. They get to the Grand Line in episode 62. So pretty much that would be next season.
It
If
would
they
be
come out
next
with it
season. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes more sense. Because I don't think they get to Chopper until they get on the Grand Line, right? They
It
find
takes
him.
them 8 episodes to do what Ocean's 11 does in like 20 minutes. We spent that's the
Well,
season. It's just
but I'll
putting the
say
team
this:
together.
they fast track that. So spoiling the content now.
Let's
So
get
like
in.
for
Let's
example,
spoil
here's a for example, Lawrence.
Mm-hmm.
In the manga and in the series, it would have been the equivalent of spending at least an episode and a half per character added to Luffy's team. And in the Netflix series, he gets Zoro and Nami in one episode.
Right.
Right. Oh, they have their own episode.
Oh yeah, and their own arc. And so the way Luffy gains his team is in the manga and in the animated series is very special because there's something that happens very specific to each of the characters that cause them to change in a way where they want to be part of the team, and they really take the time to develop these relationships. Where I'd say that's something is a little lost.
You good?
Yeah, double stick tape isn't the best thing to hang stuff up.
That's one thing I'd say is lost in this translation is just the time to develop the relationships a little more. So when, like, even spoiler, when Shanks, or like you kind of see it with Sanji, the cook, you get all his backstory with the guy in charge of the cook station, and then you got the crazy flashback where you see what that guy did for Sanji. That is definitely more true with all of the characters, and they still manage to get it all in there. Like, we get all of Nami's backstory, we get all of Usopp's backstory, you get Sanji. So it's not like the content's not in there. It's just a little more condensed. And
it wouldn't have worked that way in live action. We would have been like, come on.
Exactly. I think so too. But and you also saw I'd say this depiction is it's a hybrid of the manga and the animated series, because the manga is actually a little more linear, where the animated series is a little time jumpy. And so a good example of that is the Shanks character, the guy with the red hair who gives Luffy the straw hat.
Right.
We see him. We see his whole kind of arc played out in a series of flashbacks, right? Whereas in the manga, it's just how the book opens, and you get that whole arc where he gets his arm bit off by the giant sea creature, and he gives Luffy the hat, and it plays out in the first chunk of the book, and then we jump to Luffy's matured in age, and he's marooned on the ship. So those are some of the some differences, but the heart of the content is, I think, all intact. So episode 1 kind of starts with Luffy adrift in the ocean, right?
So it starts with the guy.
Yeah.
With that guy, right?
Flashback, and he did with the pirate with the golden Roger.
You're right. Yeah, Gold Roger. All the content starts with Gold Roger, and it starts with Gold Roger setting the scene for the new pirate era. Because
this is where I got to jump in right here from the beginning. I hate to be a Debbie Downer. It looks so cheap. Like, it looked like we're on this CGI soundstage. There was no texture in the costumes. And I get if there's no texture, if that's a stylistic choice, but it felt very, I kind of make fun of it. It felt very like Wizards of Waverly Place. It felt like that Disney kind of live action show. It felt like Goosebumps. It felt like it didn't have, whereas Cowboy Bebop, it felt like the anime. I felt like the texture, the slums. I felt like the set design changed and felt authentic. Here, it felt like, it's cheap.
That's because it was inconsistent with the costume. When you have one guy like Luffy in costume, you have another guy wearing like an Abercrombie and Fitch polo shirt, and it's like, where are you guys shopping? What world am I in?
And I'm okay with that, but Luffy, I'm like, how are your clothes as clean as the Marines? Like, you're freaking live off the land.
The content is, and I'd say that's something that maybe didn't translate well, because it is kind of true to the content and the eclecticness of their costumes and the location and the characters. Eclectic is the best word I can use, because it's all kind of free range in the manga and in the anime.
Yeah.
And so this might have been something where when it translated, they could have taken some more time to, if the guy has been marooned on a ship for X amount of time, dirty him up.
like Nami says, like in episode 3, oh, I would love a bath because they haven't bathed.
Right.
If I just look at it with the sound off, I assume you're all equally clean. No one looks filthy.
Right.
This is where I feel like,
Pirates, you know?
and maybe some of that is what's odd. And that was actually odd about the content for me was it was physically depicted with the violence as pretty mature on a lot of levels. I mean, they're killing people, and the language, they're dropping f-bombs, and so I'm like, it's odd because it's mature, but then it's also feels like a cartoon live action.
It feels, y'all seen that Dora the Explorer like live action where they put
Right.
the actress in the same costume and colors, and for some reason, seeing it live, it just looks like it's some soundstage at like Disneyland. Like it doesn't look as real or as natural as the cart. That's how I felt about the visuals of this entire series.
Listen, I gotta. These guys made the pirate ships. Like you can get online and see the construction of these massive sets that were actually handmade, and the attention to detail is, I thought, was pretty phenomenal in a lot of cases. And they definitely had a budget for this content.
Man, when they scattered, when that dude said, "Go find my One Piece," it looked like ants on a CGI screen. I'm talking about that stuff. That stuff will trump when we see a real ship because we're all automatically. I'm going. This is just one thing.
Yeah, that's hard, and it's the first thing we see. And I got to tell you, I wasn't necessarily in love with the narration right at the top of it. The whole content starts with a VO, and I felt like that the VO was lacking a little bit of gravitas, a little bit of texture.
The whole thing lacks.
I would agree,
but that might be the cartoon. I don't know.
I took it as I'm watching a TV show, right? I'm not watching a movie. I'm also not watching like what was that super expensive, boring, the Ring show. I'm not watching that.
But you're watching a series.
Watching one step above WB.
You're watching a series on the same streaming service as The Witcher. Like it's the same. Like so, my expectations not to do The Witcher, but to do your version of that, and not feel like I'm watching.
But they also they got to. But that's the hard thing about towing the line, because then this is what I would say. It was a very faithful adaptation in the sense of, yo man, the thing it was so close to the source material that when characters like Arlong came out, or the Lady Sea Captain in the beginning, I was like, or even Luffy's grandpa, right, Garp, in the manga, in the anime, these characters are massive. Like Garp is so broad shouldered, it's freaking ridiculous. And it was, and the translation into live action was so faithful that when I saw Garp, and he's a man, he's like an average large man, but he's not like oddly large. It was like, that's interesting, right? Because of course they have to use human beings,
but they still look too clean. I felt like they could have broken a song at any point, and I would have been like, yeah, it feels like a musical. It feels like a movie musical, and they could all break in a song. It feels like that level of clean. Like we're not really pirates; we're actors playing pirates, and they're about to sing a song.
Yeah, I can't argue that. The content is very clean. So let's actually talk about the content. So
that was my first thought in the first image.
No, it's true, man. It's a hard one. The content largely is lacking texture, right? It's lacking a little bit of dirt under the fingernails type feel. Yes. And what's hard
who cares? Like, hold on, who cares though? Because how many any type of content we've seen where characters out here with a fresh freaking fade, but they have dirt on their face, right? Or like their locks are perfectly dreaded, or they got a shape up and everything. Like, come on, bro. Like, what are we
it's the last
about?
action
Just because
hero.
they didn't have dirt on their face.
No. When you watch,
like, let me get some motor oil. Okay, I'm good. When you watch, fade is fresh though.
When you watch Witcher, you can tell the difference between classes just off of the image.
But you also have to look at the source material.
Exactly. The Witcher was different. You go play the game or even look at the comics of it, or the anime or the manga, excuse me. they were dirty.
Mhm.
So for this, the characters that weren't popping out just being dirty. Like, yeah, she claimed about one in the shower because that was just her character. But
Right.
they weren't just walking around on pages dirty all the
In
time.
cartoons, that's fine, but in real life, when we see cotton and clothes and
Real
know
life,
you're yes, when you see
these
human,
these made up fictional characters.
but
God,
you know it's not fake. That shirt he wore, that's actually cotton
Well,
that is
but
worn
it kind
in
of,
real life.
Lawrence,
That looks like it was dry cleaned.
it kind of does go back to content, right? And if you're looking at the thing about One Piece is it is made for a younger audience. It's not Pokemon, but it does have a
The
clean kind of
second they
aesthetic.
started cutting heads off and dropping f bombs, I
Yeah,
would argue with you.
You're right. I thought that
tone
too.
was kind of all over the place for me.
It's not. This is not for young
I'm
audience.
trying to think, who is this for? Because when they're talking the gum pistol, gum punch, and he's doing like these super cartoony moves, and then Zoro sliced the dude in half. I'm like,
Now
who is
I'm
this
cool,
for?
and I'm cool with that because I'm like, that's Luffy. Luffy is a child, so let him be that. I'm cool with him saying that because that's his character. My main issue is it felt like I was watching, like I said, Wizards of Waverly Place. It felt like I was watching an episode of Power Rangers.
Someone is at the front door.
Chris, you don't
Ooh.
get that man from walking around your front door.
I think they're trying to put the
Listen,
dog inside.
Jeffrey, we
You
about
know-
to spoil this thing. You always come in, we about to spoil this thing. If you haven't seen it yet, just come back.
Oh yeah.
Jeffrey, come
Yeah,
back.
you're right. Yeah, we are about to in any minute here. We're gonna actually start talking about the content. I'm sure.
Man.
Instead of the vibe of the content. But listen, I agree. And it was that's there is an odd duality between those two things in the content. It both feels a little clean and comic bookish, you know.
Like remember like Hot Shots where like, he would fall in the ocean and get out the ocean, he's dry because like it just is. It
But that's
felt like
also
that.
it is the content, you know. It's like Rich. I was surprised that there weren't moments when we saw Sanji seeing female characters in the content where they didn't just have blood shooting out his nose.
yeah. But you saw
You know,
the way
but
he acted though.
Yes, but they also, I mean, they really kind of modulated that so as not to get
Right.
themselves canceled, right? Like,
So okay, let me ask you guys a question. You and Rich a question. Is it that they didn't go too far? Because when I saw Scott Pilgrim, they went for it the whole way. So from Jump Street, I'm like, I get what this is.
that's
They went
interesting
for it the whole
because
way with Scott
they do
Pilgrim.
and they don't. It's funny. Let's talk about the arc of the show a little bit.
Go ahead.
So Luffy, so yes, Gold D Rogers is executed at the top of the content, and he tells everybody that he's hid his treasure. He also talks about what he learned as a pirate in his time. It inspires the masses and starts the era of the pirates. And Luffy is just one of such people touched by this story, and he grows up wanting to be, king of the pirates. So, things that happen right at the top. We have Luffy is on a ship. This scene is added because I think the manga actually starts with him just in a barrel adrift. But anyways, he's in a ship. He's peddling water out of the ship. Quickly becomes evident to him that he's not going to survive, so he jumps in a barrel, and then he's a little barrel adrift in the ocean. I think we then cut to another character that we get introduced to here. It's
Corey,
probably,
right? It's Corey, right?
Kobe.
Kobe.
Kobe, yeah.
Right, Kobe. And Kobe's actually, I thought, was surprisingly faithful in the depiction of him. Like, I felt like I was looking at the essence of the character who's in the animated series here. It was pretty good. Luffy gets picked up, or the barrel gets picked up, and it gets put in a storage room
But there was a
where
battle. There was a battle between the pirate that Kobe was serving under, which I forgot her name was.
Captain or Dilla, or we get to the A, right?
Yeah,
right.
Big Bertha, and she ended up destroying another pirate ship. Luffy gets picked up among the wreckage and put in storage, and then you see how badly Kobe is treated by the pirates, by the rest of the pirates, and everything like that. And then Luffy pops up, and then
Right, which I was hoping to see something that was more faithful to the manga and the animated series in this moment, because when Luffy bursts out of the barrel the first time, he literally bursts out of the barrel, exploding the barrel and knocking a bunch of the pirates on the ship back, causes a humongous commotion. He's
yeah,
captured, and then later kind of what happens in the series is what happens here, where he has a more kind of intimate moment where he gets to know Kobe, right? Which again, they're focusing on getting the story moving here and the relationships, and that kind of worked for this, even though it's a bit of a departure. I felt it worked. And so then what does happen in all the content is obviously Luffy gets in a fight with the captain, ends up knocking her miles
Okay.
off the ship.
This is where I had my first eye roll because I wasn't prepared for the stretchy. You have to imagine. I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm watching here, right?
Right,
And out of nowhere, if Mr. Fantastic's her, I wasn't ready for
right.
that, and it took me a second to go. Yeah,
Yeah,
I had an eye roll there.
that might be fair because you're just not expecting it. So in the world of One Piece, and that's also why they start giving the backstory in flashbacks with the Shanks character. In the world of One Piece, there are these devil fruits, and if you eat the devil fruit, you get power. And what that power is depends on the fruit. And there's no two fruits that are the same. So everyone who eats the devil fruit gets some sort of different special power. And what's pretty cool is as the story unfolds, there is a lot of really cool, interesting, really creative, different kind of powers that people end up having. Like the Buggy, the clown character, is an
Yeah.
odd
Yeah,
power, right? Because he ate the chop chop fruit. Um, so you see that. So I'm interested. Obviously, I was interested to see how I think some of this plays out. And I'll tell you, the thing about so many of these different kind of animes is they dial the spectrum up on a scale of 1 to 10. Like Kung Fu Hustle is a really good example of a film that dials that scale up slowly on a scale of 1 to 10 to then they're like off the charts and you're like, how did they do that?
yeah.
And that definitely happens in this content, right?
But usually, there's an opening scene in these things that establishes the world, that establishes like what are the rules here. So I guess that's why my eyes roll because we didn't establish
It's a
super
surprise.
powered being. And they probably wanted it to be so, and it's great for the fans of the anime.
Well, and it's dropped on you that way in the content too. And all the content across the board, it's a reveal. That's like, wait, what? And then
Mm-hmm.
you kind of get the backstory. The thing that kind of leads you into that easier in the other forms of the content is it's cartoons, so they're able to draw these crazy worlds in a way that lets you just instantly not feel thrown off when something supernatural or unbelievable happens.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now we're in the world of live action, so they're still kind of doing that, but like the female captain of that ship in the first altercation with Luffy is massive, dude. She's like the size of 4 people, and her head is like this big the way she's drawn. So when she's got this crazy personality and power set, it doesn't feel odd because you're looking at something odd.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whereas in this, you're just looking at a large lady, So that's where the live action translation gets kind of weird with some of these characters, especially as they start using their powers. Like the Arlong, the shark guy in the end of the series, is so massive in the content.
yeah.
He's menacing. He's scary to look at. But in this, he's just kind of like he looked kind of like I don't know, a larger
Maybe a little bit
linebacker
of
kind of
shark
vibe.
nose. Yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much
he's
just on the
not
nose.
scary. He's kind of comical, right? And that's
Mm.
where it doesn't. That's where the translation, the live action translation, maybe doesn't work so well in those instances. All right, so long story short, let's get to it. So Luffy needs a map because he wants to be king of the pirates. So he knows he needs to get a map that shows him how to get to the Grand Line. Now, Luffy doesn't know much. He's one of these buffoon characters with a humongous heart and a small intellect, but it works for him, right? So he slowly starts building his team together inadvertently. He comes across Zoro, who's tied up on a
My
cross.
favorite character.
Yeah,
I
I
love
got
this
it.
dude.
So where does the third sword go?
Yeah, and then we find out. I tell you, man, the first time I got introduced to Zoro, I had no idea what One Piece was. I saw this toy. It was a little toy, maybe 3 inches tall, of a samurai, and he's in his green kimono look, and he's got the 3 swords. And I was looking at it going, why is this guy so cool?
Mm-hmm.
He was just so cool. And I'd never seen a samurai with 3 swords. It's like, what? I had to buy it. I don't know where it is. That was like how many years ago, but I instantly, and then when later I got introduced to the series, I was like, I know that guy.
That's the guy.
There's that guy.
Now, he's
And
cool.
he's cool. He's instantly iconic. He's got the whole thing going for him. And the third sword is, again, really innovative. It's a really cool kind of innovative way. 2 swords not enough. Let's give this guy, he's a badass. Let's give him 3 swords. How does he use it? Of course, he puts it in his mouth. What else are you gonna do? It's kind of
What else are you gonna do?
What else are you gonna do with it, baby?
Hey, yo, come on, knock it off. And it's kind of reminiscent of Berserk, where he's fighting with Griffith, and he's like, you talk too much. The only thing appropriate to do with your mouth is use it, and he like bites Griffith's sword. Pause.
I know I've said that before.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, back on content.
Boy.
So he's having a drink in a bar. Luffy's having a drink in a bar, and he sees Zoro getting a fight. And he's like, man, this guy can fight, and he's instantly got appreciation, right?
And we see that he's heroic because it was all about the girl, and she brought him something to eat, and
The rice balls.
yeah.
At this point, Luffy's also got Kobe floating around with him, and Kobe and Luffy have determined that Luffy's dream is to be king of the pirate, and Kobe wants to be a marine. And there's conflict of interest there because the Marines are actively trying to hunt down, capture, and or kill the pirates. And so right there, you got this really interesting character dynamic between the two, and it really tells you who Luffy is. Because when Kobe says, I want to be essentially the authority who has to catch you, capture you, and punish you, Luffy has no problem with that because Kobe is telling him what his dream is.
Yeah, and he's following his dream, and that's what
Follow
Luffy
your
wants
dream.
for.
And this is a running theme throughout the whole content that Luffy propagates, that the only thing that matters in life is that you actively, unapologetically follow your dream, no matter what that dream is. And if you're not doing that, then what are you doing with your life, and why are you doing it? And so they managed to capture that. So they see Zoro get in a fight. Zoro ends up getting imprisoned. Luffy decides to, I think at this point, go steal the map. He knows he needs the map.
Yeah, he runs
Nami,
into by accident. Yeah, he makes a plan to break into the Marine headquarters, and once he goes through, he comes up through a grate, and he catches Zoro there. And Zoro was there because he had the option of either joining the Marines or being held for 7 days. And then the sun comes and lets him know that you're not here for 7 days; you're here forever.
right?
You're here till you die. And then Luffy kind of makes the contact with him. It's like, hey, I'm break you free, and you can be part of my crew, or do whatever you want. But
What's
he gave him
cool?
free will.
What's cool is that Zoro said, like, I'm not going to help you if you free me. And Luffy was like, okay, I'm going to free you anyway. That it just shows, like, you get an idea who he is real quick.
Just close the grate for me. That's it.
Yeah, and you see that's true with Luffy in almost every setting, right? He makes decisions based off of it feels like the right thing to do as opposed to I'm trying to get something for doing it, right? So he goes to steal a map. He runs into Nami, who's also stealing the map. This fast tracks their relationship timeline if you're comparing it to other content, but it happens here. And this actually the map's not even in the safe they steal in the other content, because in the other content, Buggy, the clown character, has already stolen the map, I'm pretty sure, and so that's why they have to go find him to get that map. In this content, it's a little different, right?
This is where I had to suspend my disbelief. I understood how Zoro and him will work together just because of that exchange. Him and Nami, I felt like that felt a little forced.
Well, the
If
only reason, yeah, no, go ahead.
them to walk out together and now work together felt like a leap in
It,
that
it
moment.
it was for me too. The only reason I was able to go with it is I know that at the end of the series, Nami is actually working for Arlong,
Spoiler, I mean,
right? No, but spoiler alert, right? And
I
so
mean,
but that's what the whole arc is
whatever.
is
Yeah,
leading
that's,
to is her getting her freedom so she can follow her. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, we don't.
But you already see, if you're on episode 4, then you've
I
seen the
saw her
phone,
make contact with
Yeah,
somebody, yeah,
but she has
right?
the
And
what's
so
the snails? Why do they don't have phones? They have snails.
but
it's so
still,
weird, dude.
but
Yeah,
still,
Weird.
her to
it's
walk out with him, know that he is a problem, know that he's going to mess up her plans. There's nothing about him that's remarkable. Her
right,
sticking with him is like, why are you doing that? You need to go left if he went right.
right,
It felt like they just needed to be together to push the story forward.
right. And the only context we have for that is she pulls herself aside and makes this phone call saying, something along the lines of, I have the map, right? And so that she's working for and with someone. We don't know
Yeah,
who or what that someone is, but we know she's not necessarily aligning herself with Luffy because she wants to be working with him necessarily, right?
But why is she aligning herself with them at all in that first
um
exchange?
that's
to
a
get
good.
what she needs. I guess.
But
Yeah,
but there's nothing about him that will let her believe that he can get the map.
right.
It's
Well,
like
other than he actually is the one who rips the map out of the building, and then
right
they have this giant
before
fight.
that. I'm talking about them walking down the hallway before they bump into the dude with the jaw. Like even then, walking out of where they just meet, there's no reason why they don't like. She's not going her separate ways from this dude.
Well, isn't she trying to go her separate way up until the point
No,
Axe Hand Morgan walks up and
she's
she
like
says,
she's
"This
like.
is
So
my
this is your
prisoner"?
plan? You don't have a plan? What is your plan? I don't know. I'm going to walk. Like there's still she's still with him, and it's like it puts her plan in
This
jeopardy.
this is an example where maybe it works in the anime, but in the live action version, you want a little more plausible deniability, right? You want
Yes,
her to be pushed into a situation where, against her better judgment, she needs or it has to be stuck here, right?
right. If there's a
And
second where I can see that she should go left when he goes right, I'm like, why didn't you do that? Like,
Yeah, I mean, real life, you wouldn't really tie your chances to a guy like Luffy,
mm-mm.
unless you realize he has powers. But really, if you would meet a Luffy in real life, you'd be like,
I'm not going. I'm not walking in the same
yeah,
direction as you do.
nah.
right, and that's something that both works and doesn't work in this content, right? It's like Luffy is such
He's
a
Elf. He's Will Farrell from Elf.
so there's this big battle between
You broke the
Luffy,
internet for
Zoro,
this.
and Nami with Axe Hand Morgan, which eventually leads to Axe Hand getting it handed to him. Luffy, Nami, and Zoro.
That was a sick fight.
That was a
That
dope.
fight was dope.
They do have some pretty good moves. The combat choreography with Zoro was surprisingly good, and the way they slowly progress Luffy's skill set in this content.
It's like,
And
like Capoeira. He looks like the way he fights.
yeah. And actually, you guys haven't necessarily gotten to Sanji yet. He comes in later. You guys will like that character. His fight, the stuff they got him doing in the fight sequences are very true to the anime, and I'm like,
yeah,
yo, they get
Sanji's a kicker, so he does a lot of kicking.
It's like Taekwondo.
Yeah, like Taekwondo. I guess you could
yeah,
say that.
yeah, and but the choreography is actually pretty good. I mean, there's definitely money behind this thing. It looks pretty good in a lot of sections of the fight scene. So the
What
crew is.
studios based out of? What country is it based out of?
What do you mean?
Hmm?
The studio, Tomorrow Studios, that produced this. Do you know where they're based out of? Is it an American production company? Is it an English production company?
Lawrence is on it.
I'm on it. Keep talking.
So while Lawrence is looking up that, so they start putting the crew together. They quickly come to the conclusion. Oh, at this point, they kind of part ways. Kobe gets picked up by this guy, Vice Admiral Garp, who ends up being Luffy's grandpa. You get that quickly following this scene, and he inducts.
Ireland is
All right,
Tomorrow
okay.
Studios. But that doesn't mean they filmed in Ireland. That's just
Right,
where
right,
the
right. I was
headquarters
just
is.
curious. Okay.
So Kobe
Thank you.
quickly gets inducted into the Marines, which is Luffy is like, good for you on that one, right? And Luffy goes off.
Wait, my favorite line of the first 4 episodes is, "I'm a Marine. Like I'm going to be your enemy." And he's like, "Not today. Today
Yeah,
we're friends." He says something like that, and I was like,
yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
hit
Yeah.
me. That won me over. I was like, "Oh, okay." That
But
hit me in the feels.
those are the moments that land, right? Where they manage to actually capture the heart of this character. And it's the heart of this character that pulls the whole team together and keeps them together,
Yeah,
right? And that's what I was saying. If they manage to kind of continue to capitalize on that, you'll keep caring about them.
true.
Um, so they decide they need to get a ship, a seaworthy vessel, because what the three of them currently have just ain't really working so well. Also, Zoro thinks he maybe blew up the toilet, but the boat didn't have a toilet in the
I don't
first
have a
place.
toilet.
So what
That's funny.
exactly is going on there? Who knows? Um, so they get to a seaport village where we meet Usopp, who is
Who's
this
a
guy is
punk?
like,
Wait, did you skip the clown plot? That's episode 2,
oh, I
right?
Buggy.
did skip the clown plot. It's not
You
very
can
good. All right,
talk
fill
about
us in on the
mustache
clown plot.
twirling. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Basically, if
Yeah.
y'all want to see a depiction of mustache twirling villain, watch episode 2. Christian, get out of my study.
Christian!
What is all this racket? Uh, if y'all want to see, now the actor killed it. Nothing against the actor, but if y'all want to see a depiction of mustache twirling villain, go watch episode 2 or episode 4, or probably every episode
So
of
every
Villain
episode.
shows up. It's just monologuing and mustache twirling, but we get to meet what's his name,
Buggy the clown.
Buggy the clown, and we learn that he's a pirate and he pretty much enslaved this town to be its audience, and
Yeah.
he also wants the map, and he's fighting the trio to get the map, and we learn that he's eating the devil fruit too, and he can like chop 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 chop,
Chop
and
food,
then
yeah.
he puts Luffy in a tank, and the most important part of this entire episode is seeing the flashbacks where Luffy feels like he's abandoned, but he's not abandoned, and what's his face with the hat. We see where he got the hat from, like very Indiana Jones Last Crusade. Like he gets the
Yeah.
hat from
Yes.
his mentor, and like he's not abandoned as his crew comes to save him. Same thing happened when he was a child, and they pretty much take down Chop Chop because Chop Chop has a conveniently large amount of empty trunks all over the place,
Yep.
ready to be filled up by body parts.
So
Which
Buggy the clown's superpower is he can literally pop all his joints apart and be separated. So if you cut him in half with a sword, he just sticks right back together. Literally, his head can be levitated from his body, and he's kind of got like a levitation ability in addition to being able to be chopped up because he can
Yeah.
float his parts
Yeah,
everywhere.
he did that and broke himself up, and he was like throwing punches. Like,
That was dope. That's dope.
It's pretty
Fight
cool.
scene.
Pretty cool, right? It's a pretty cool fight scene. Ultimately, ending with, like Lawrence is saying, Luffy comes up with the idea: hey, let's put each of his body parts in a different container to capture him, and they do.
then he's like a
Yeah.
Mr. Potato Head at the end with just
And
hands. Just
which
like,
was really pretty funny, actually,
It's
and
funny.
that's true to all the content
And
too.
he looked great. Like that makeup and the nose, that he looked great.
He did look great, but
He looked great.
and you're right. This is one of two moments where I kind of eye rolled because the content started feeling very anime and not in that good way.
Mm-hmm.
And the other time, the other one is, oh man, it's really bad. In one of the later episodes, you get one of the main villains. really monologues hardcore for a moment, and you're just sitting here waiting for, don't you guys want to punch each other? And the answer is yes. They're just sitting there waiting to punch each other, but they got to talk first, and that's where it starts feeling like
And it works in anime. Like it just
doesn't.
works.
It doesn't actually work in anime either most of the time. It's the convention, right? It's like,
Mark laughed himself off.
yeah, he laughs himself off. It's part of the style of anime. You know that they're going to monologue about the being a villain and why they're doing it. You know that they're going to bleed blood out of their nose if they're overly excited. So it's just part of the content, I'd say, right? So yeah, you have the fight scene where they ultimately beat the clown, and they find out where the map was taken, right? Buggy
Yes.
tells them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they go to track down the map to get it back. And at the end of episode 4, we meet Usopp for the first time. I think it's end of episode 3, episode 4 we meet Usopp. And Usopp is an ugly character in the comic book, in the manga, and in the anime. I mean, this guy is like a Cyrano de Bergerac type guy. He's humongous nose and not very attractive. And that's kind of the downfall of his character in a lot of cases. He's got a pseudo inferiority complex, right? And so much of himself is making up for it. So in this case, Luffy, Nami, Zoro get to the shipyard and they see this boat, and it's gorgeous. It is the boat we know. If you're familiar with the content, you know that this is the first boat they get. And Usopp says it's his boat, that's kind of, and then he says, why don't you come meet my friend? We'll talk to her. You can see if she'll sell you the boat, right?
Right.
So then they go have lunch with Usopp's friend. What's her name?
I forgot, but she's sick, and like he sneaks in through a tunnel and sneaks into her room, and she's like,
Right.
"Regale me with your stories." Well, she didn't say regale, but tell me your stories of your travels. And it seems like this guy is, embellishing all these crazy adventures he's having when he's not really having. He's building like this like dream world for her, and she can't leave because she's sick and she's tied to this dude. And that's kind of where I ended.
You kind of quickly pick up on what's going on here, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's obvious that this person is probably being poisoned, and it turns
Yeah.
out she is, and she's being taken advantage of by the people in her close circle who you think are supposed to be caring and nurturing for her.
Right.
And that's kind of where episode 4
That's
ends,
four, yeah.
which I think we'll kind of end the talk there because we don't want to spoil it too much. If you're gonna finish the content, that leaves you a good 4 episodes of spoiler-free stuff. I'll say this: if you like the anime or the manga, I think you're definitely going to like the live action. If you're not familiar with the anime or the manga, I think there are some hard sells in this content, but I do think they managed to capture the heart pretty well.
And Jack, it just made me feel. I'm watching this, and it made me feel like I said in the beginning, like it made me feel like I wish I loved the source material more, and I wouldn't be upset if there was a comic book or a childhood story I liked that got this treatment, because even though I'm not that well versed on One Piece, it felt authentic to me when I watched the show. So for that, I appreciate that a lot, and I wouldn't be upset if they took something from that I loved and gave it the same type of treatment, even with the flaws it had. I still would be happy that it got kind of this faithful treatment.
So do you think you're coming back?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it. I'm absolutely gonna finish it. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. It was a good time. It was a little cartoony for me sometimes, and the tone was kind of weird. Where I see like gratuitous violence, but then like really really childish stuff. But I kind of accept that as kind of this is kind of it's a little bit all over the place, and I'll accept it for what it is, and I'll come back for it. I'm gonna finish it.
Yeah, it is a little bit all over the place. It's like when they dropped the F bomb in there. I was, and I listen. I curse. I don't have a problem with cursing, but it felt out of place. It
Yeah,
didn't necessarily feel out of place for the character who used it, but it felt out of place for the content.
for
And
the
I'm like,
series. Yeah, yeah,
like
I agree with that.
yeah, it's because it is there. The backbone of this whole content is very wholesome, and so do
Well,
you want to be cartoony and big and fun and adventurous, or are you trying to be grounded and dirty and visceral, cutting people in half? And you're kind of doing both, and it kind of works and kind of doesn't.
yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Rich, you coming back?
I already watched the whole thing.
Oh,
Yeah, I knocked out the full 8 episodes. I enjoyed it. I thought it was faithful to the content. Um, I couldn't. I'm not picking it apart like the rest of these guys because I already knew what I was going into when I was watching it because
That's a
I
good
watched
point,
the anime.
Rich. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I thought it was pretty good. They did a good job of playing on the emotion sides of all the characters and also laying that backstory without doing too much.
Mm-hmm.
So no, yeah.
Well, then I'll talk to you specifically since you and I are the only ones who finished it. Without giving any spoilers, watching it,
Mm,
one thing I was really happy with was, for example, Gomo Gomo Battle Axe,
yeah.
and I was like, well, listen, man, you're showing me really specifically that you understand the content and you understand how these power sets need to continue to grow, because by the time you get to like season 9, the stuff that Luffy's doing is
Nuts.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Absolutely nuts. But
I yeah, go ahead.
I liked how he was rubbing off because Zoro, you know, he has his own set of skill sets and whatnot. But notice how he wasn't naming his moves
Yeah.
until like later on in the show when he was like, "Hey, you heard that every great warrior always named their moves."
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's nice.
When you
That's
get
nice.
Sanji says it too, right?
Yeah.
And even Usopp says it, but Sanji says exactly what Luffy said to Zoro, and
Right.
Zoro responds differently the second time he hears it from Sanji.
Yeah.
Right? When Luffy says it, Zoro goes, "No, they don't." Right? Luffy says every great hero, every great warrior calls out their finishing moves, and he goes, "No, they don't." And then Sanji does it, and he says, every great whatever calls out their finishing moves. And I think in that moment, Zoro kind of considers maybe he'll start thinking
Yeah.
about some finishing moves to
Hmm.
call out, which is also a good way to kind of let you into the anime world because they do call out these ridiculous things. And it's not just Luffy.
Yeah.
I'll say the one big thing that I kind of missed in this content was Luffy's love of food.
They
Now,
play with it. They dabble with
yes,
it.
no, but they, on a scale of 1 to 10, they completely missed the mark. They're on like
Yeah.
a 2. The the anime and the manga, like when they sell Luffy toys, he often comes with food. Is
No.
how ridiculous his eating habits are. And he'll eat an entire, not just a bowl of food, he'll eat the entire table of
Table.
food while
Yep.
everyone else is going, "Hey man, I wanted some of that too."
Yeah, in episode 4, when he was in the kitchen, he was just like taking little bite-sized hors
Yeah.
d'oeuvre bites.
Yes, and that doesn't work. That doesn't work for Luffy, right? And so they either needed to figure out a way for the actor to be literally cramming his mouth with food, spitting it out, cramming his mouth, so you just constantly see him shoveling food all over. And in the anime, he grows. He gets like balloon size where he can't
Well,
even
because you can
move
stretch. That makes sense.
Well, how far do
because
you
he's eating
take
so
it?
much.
How
I
far
don't
do
know.
you take it?
I don't know. But
You
if
guys
you're
are
not
very
going to
Willy
do
Wonka.
that, exactly, it's very Willy Wonka. But that's but this is where they took it there in some places but didn't in others, and I gotta go. Budget. What are you gonna have a giant roly poly CGI Luffy trying to move around, but he can't?
He was
Um,
I say the way they did it was more of a Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift. The Han character.
yeah.
He always had food in his hands. He's always eating something.
But what's important about Luffy and his obsession with food is twofold. It is like Luffy loves food more than gold or treasure. Whereas like when you get to know these characters better, you'll know that Nami will do anything for a coin. Luffy do anything for food. And so it's so embedded in his character, that was something I feel like they really missed. And the other thing is, as his power and skill set continues to evolve, he's a lot more like you saw the Flash being depicted in the movie, where you really got to recharge that battery, and you do that by eating large quantities. If you guys remember, we had a debate and we were debating about who could eat more
I was
food.
watching this like, how can he say Luffy can beat the
And that's what I'm
Flash in an
saying.
eating
Like, they
contest?
so completely missed that. They almost kind of don't even do it at all. They don't touch base on it. So I felt like
How do they do it in the anime? Because they're supposed to kind of be poor, right? So like, how do they depict them having just large quantities of
he's just
food?
always eating everything. There's literally a moment in the anime where he steals a fish out of a seagull's mouth. That's flying over. Like this guy has the ability to stretch, and he'll eat anything and everything. And so
He's got a tapeworm. He needs to-
it's
No,
really
it's
it's
because
really
of the gum
comical.
gum
So
fruit that he ate is why he has an obsession with food, but more specifically meat. But they didn't put that in there, and you know why they didn't.
well,
Wow.
I know they missed this. They missed that element of the character that I feel like they'll
Wait,
probably
that's a side effect of the fruit that he can't.
no. It's why he ate the fruit in the first place, which they also kind of missed. Like
Wait,
as a kid, Luffy has a obsession with eating, and that's why he goes into Shanks' stuff and eats his devil fruit. He's hungry.
but I got that he was hungry because he was probably poor. Are you telling me that now that he has powers, it increases his appetite?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, because he
that's what helps him
burns.
regenerates and recovers and whatnot.
Yeah, and
Oh yeah.
that becomes more and more evident as the series goes on.
Yeah.
Right,
they
like
didn't-
you don't really see Luffy even in the ending battle, and he does some outrageous stuff. You don't really see him over tap into his power reserves, right? As the content continues to develop and his powers continue to develop, he really does, and we get a quick correlation between I need to eat in order to do some of these things.
Mhm.
If I don't eat enough, I don't have enough power to do some of these moves. And so there's even moments where you see him hiding food for the battle because he knows he'll do something and then need to replenish and then battle some more. It was kind of like that
Well, that's
moment in the
important.
Flash movie. It is very important. It's like that moment in the Flash movie because the Flash movie sets up Flash needs food in order to do this stuff. And then in the last 45 minutes of the movie, he does the most outrageous stuff over and over and over and over again, and he never eats once. You know,
Yeah.
like, why are you setting up a rule just not to follow through? The same is kind of true with Luffy, only they're not setting up the rule. So
Mm.
Yeah.
maybe that won't matter. So, Lawrence, coming back or not?
I'll come back. I'm watching Ahsoka now too. There's nothing else to watch, so I'll come back, but not in the. I'm excited to come back. I'll come back because there's nothing else on, and I'm having a good time, man. It's fun, but definitely took me about 4 episodes to understand the tone and get behind it and allow some things to play out. Because yeah, power consistency is important to me. And in episode 4, we got Edward Scissorhands that has super speed, and he just stopped using super speed in his fight with Luffy. I'm
Oh,
like,
that made no sense.
why did you
Oh,
stop doing the thing that made you
That
so
makes you
powerful?
good.
That makes
yeah.
you good. Like, Yeah.
It just made no sense. But also, why was so? We didn't really talk too much about that episode. That was so he's talking about a character who's got super speed, and you watch this guy walk around the house really slowly. You watch him in a battle with people, not moving fast, and so you're like, got the power, don't have the power, use the power, don't use the power. What's going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that was, and also that character also did the thing that just doesn't work for a live action translation for me, is he monologues his villainous.
Oh, he does. Now, the only cool thing about the monologue was that he was telling Luffy, like, you think you want to be a pirate? Do you even know what that means? I didn't see why he felt compelled to school him. What he
Right.
said was cool, and I think Luffy needed to hear it to say, I'm not going to be that kind of pirate. But why did you feel the need to tell him this? Like, who is he to you to
Yeah.
make you have to say this right now?
These are moments where it I wonder that it's maybe earned a little more in the longer form content where you're condensing so much and then you sit in a monologue, it starts feeling like the content's slowed down more than it should for the progression at which everything is kind of going.
I think anime, almost all anime is innocent and childlike. Even Berserk, the way the brothers form relationships, there's something innocent and childlike to it. And when you watch it, you allow things that you wouldn't allow in other content because it's won you over. Here, without that childlike, juvenile, bright-eyed, innocent thing that anime has, you do start asking questions where you would never ask questions watching it. You would never ask, why are you blushing because she said hi? In anime, of course you're blushing because she said hi. Like you're with it. Here is asking too many questions.
Hmm.
And I don't know how you ride that line. No. But
Yeah.
I'll come back. I'm gonna come back. I'll come back.
All right. Well, I think that's our take on One Piece. Any final remarks? All right. Chris, you want to hit us with some recommendations?
Sure. So, I felt like I said a couple times, I felt like this was an accurate adaptation. If you guys are looking for some accurate adaptations, here's some stuff you should check out. One, Last of Us. Amazing content, great adaptation.
Mm-hmm.
Two, Umbrella Academy. I actually started reading it recently, and it's pretty accurate to the comic.
Is it? I thought it's like comic is crazy.
The comic is crazier, but for network TV, it's pretty good. Three, a little bit watered down, but The Boys. I mean, you get some stuff in the comic that
Wait.
I don't need to see. I don't need to see the love sausage.
Wait.
So I'm good.
He said The Boys is watered down.
Yeah.
Oh, the comic
yes,
book.
it is. It's watered down from the comic. Oh, yeah, it is watered down from the
I
comic.
know what scene you're talking about.
Yeah. 4, Walking Dead, especially those early seasons, is very, very accurate to the comic. And 5, Invincible, baby. Give me that Invincible.
That's
That might be the
interesting.
most
That's the only
faithful
one on your
adaptation.
list not a live action.
I didn't have to make it live action. I just said faithful.
No, he said
Faithful
you're right.
adaptations.
You're right. You're right.
You didn't mention any animes.
I've already talked about all the animes that I know about, so
Robotech and Dragon Ball Z.
that's it.
Christian!
That's Sebastian. Close though.
Yes.
Oh, my bad. I was thinking about him crashing into your room.
Oh.
Sebastian, you got some toys you're going to show us?
No, he just has his gear. Again, Sebastian's been on a mission to become the most geared up he could possibly can.
Like your
I
father.
got different gears up. So, can you hold my Nerf gun, please? So, this is a machine Nerf gun. Right here, I got a flashlight.
Wow.
Okay.
All right.
And I got a 3-pistoler. Hold on, let me get it.
You're like
Wait,
the John
one-
Wick of Nerf.
Yeah, he is the John Wick of Nerf.
He
This is
is,
how
alright.
this has been our life in
This
the
is
house.
the 1-pistoler and the 2-pistoler.
Now, how do you use two
I mean,
pistols? and that thing your daddy's got at the same time.
Because sometimes you got to put because this is your sniper gun. So you got to put this down. You got to put the bipod down, shoot your guys from there, and then he just put on every single attachment he possibly could to the one gun.
Yeah.
It even extended the barrel, put a suppressor on the barrel because we all know we need to suppress our Nerf guns.
Nerf guns. Wow.
I love
Yep.
it.
And then that's it. And then you got a bunch of stuff. You can show it next week because now he has a utility belt coming and gloves.
They got more ammo. All right.
Do the gloves shoot?
No, the gloves are just
To hold in.
So,
But,
What is
and that little
That's
guy.
That's another.
Yep.
Another gun. All right.
and I got one containing a flashlight holder. Let me get it right.
Chris, I feel like you have all the real versions of this.
I do.
You need a smaller flashlight, Chris. You need a
A
flashlight like
flashlight
this.
holder and some.
Yeah,
You
that's
need a flashlight like this. A little bit more
Yep.
compact.
Well,
right?
that's what the holder is
And
designed for, is a
some-
flashlight like that.
Yeah, that's what you need.
Bullets. Bullets one has not a lot, and this one got a billion bullets.
you ready.
He's ready.
Do you hunt daddy? Is that the game? Hunt daddy when he's not paying attention? Just
Yeah,
bang bang.
I'm ready to hunt people down.
I mean, this thing is. You have the clip. This thing is a little bit.
It's a little John Wick. It's a little too.
Yeah, and it has like real Weaver rails and stuff like that, and I don't know. Nerf
Yeah.
is weird.
Nerf is
It's
preparing.
Nerf for nothing, baby.
Hey man.
Nerf or nothing.
Nerf will get killed in the face.
All right, let's wrap it up. You gotta go eat.
All right. Well,
All right.
that's our show. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, tell your friends. If you didn't, tell your
Tell-
enemies. And I'm stealing that from the complete works of Shakespeare, the reduced
I
theater
got like
company.
2 layers.
Hold on. Let Jack finish.
Well, no, that's it. So like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done that already, and you'll catch us here Sundays, same time, same.
Same bat time, same bat channel.
Thank you, Sebastian.
That's it.